Right. Welcome back, terrestrials. In this episode, we are doing The First Omen from 2024.
Right. Brand
Jerry,
new.
yeah, brand new. We're doing a new movie instead
Hmm.
of the 70s and 80s.
Hmm.
Jerry, what do you grade this movie?
I'm gonna give it a B plus.
A B plus. Okay. I think I'm willing to give it a B minus.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I think that's where I'm gonna go.
Okay, yeah, it's not that far off. So,
Yeah, I know. I really just wanted to give it a flat C.
uh,
Um, but it is a little
a
bit better than
flat
that.
C.
Yeah. Yeah. The middle C, the middle
Okay.
version of C. Now I'll go B minus.
Hmm.
There's some good things in this.
All right.
You know what it did remind me of though?
What?
I'm gonna just jump right into it. It reminded me of Suspiria.
Yes.
When you meet the woman, she's being introduced at the thing, she's being introduced at the dance studio, and then she's in like a hostel or apartment complex or whatever. She has the roommate, same thing as Susie has
Hmm.
in Suspiria. It opened feeling a lot like Suspiria, and I was like, what's happening here? Um, Even with like the priest, getting his head shaved and the beginning and stuff, it just that aside, it just felt to follow the steps of Suspiria.
Right.
It obviously it takes a completely different turn, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, how well versed are you in these omens?
So I'm not super versed in omens.
Okay.
I'm not uh
But you know the rough basis of what we're dealing with here, right? Or is this like
Antichrist
I
child. Is that like
okay, so like if you were to say, okay, I watched the first one and how did it lead into the next one?
yeah, so no, I can't do that.
Okay. Okay.
I watched the original.
All right.
And I think I watched one in like 2001 called like Omen 666 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean
I
I
mean, there
think that
was a
was called the
billion of them.
remake.
So
I think
like,
that was
yeah,
the remake.
yeah. So I think those were the two that I watched. So the storyline I can't follow very well. But yeah, so I don't know. You lead the direction. You lead the charge on this. What am I missing?
Yeah,
Tell me a
well,
story about a evil little.
okay, yeah. I mean, well, you basically, if you're not well versed in the other omens, this is
Uh-huh.
a good starting point. Like Tara, I'm not a big Omen fan,
Uh-huh.
but I know them. I know the Omens.
Right.
Um, Tara has never seen the Omens,
Okay.
and I was like, this is actually a really good like a prequel, like where you set up our story for the next story
Mhm.
without a bunch of member berries. Like
Okay.
there's not a lot of it. There are a
Well, that's
couple.
the positive to a prequel is you don't need member berries
Right,
because
right.
it's setting the story up.
Unless it flows the story, you know.
But if this is the first part of the story, how are you going to tell? You can't Quentin Tarantino the shit. Like you
No,
can't just tell later facts early in the beginning. So
correct,
yeah.
correct. But because where this movie leaves off and
Mm.
the Omen starts kind of like poof, like oh yeah, like uh
The
the
Omen starts like, oh, here you already know some shit, basically.
well no, where it's like we don't need to tell you every goddamn little detail, but you
Gotcha.
find out little things here and there. Like yeah, Damien coming around where did this kid come from? Oh, the mother died.
Right.
That's all they really talk about. Now we get to see the mother's story.
Right.
And I loved it. I loved it. I will say, like, if honestly, there's only like two moments in this movie where I was just like, mm, but everything else about it, I was just like, So good. Like this makes me so happy to be a horror fan in the year 2024 because motherfuckers know how to do horror. Like
It does show like that there's still some hope for horror
there
because
is no
when
some, there
you
is complete
well
hope.
let's settle down.
I know that they
Um,
just finished that
um,
Conjuring
right,
movie
exactly. That's what
and
I'm saying. The Conjuring universe and the Insidious universe, and there's another one. What's the other one? Insidious and
Annabelle fucking
well, yeah,
I
that's the
know they were
Conjuring
pumping out
universe. I'm talking about Insidious, and then there's like what's the other one? There's another one. There's like three major ones. Uh,
right.
but like, yeah, those have dampened my expectations of horror so much. Except for the original Conjuring, I'll stand by that one because it was
Okay.
at the time. But everything else, it's just like, man, God fucking damn it, stop doing. And that's naturally kind of the thought process that I went into with this one
Right.
because I'm like, well, there's like
Okay.
7 or 8 of these fucking movies.
Right.
And then when I
They're dealing with
saw the
religion, so
well, I don't care about
nuns.
that,
Well,
but
no, I'm just saying like those have the I was so worried it was gonna be like scary nun like from the nun,
oh,
like that super painted nun
yeah,
face and nope. Nope,
yeah,
no
yeah,
scary nun. They're
yeah,
all scary because fucking nuns are scary.
yeah, because religion is terrifying.
Yeah,
Um,
regular. Fucking just
but
like huh, like that one jump scare with the nun,
yeah,
like where it's just going around the room, slow as fucking anything. That camera's just panning slowly, and we're just staring into darkness, and it's
right,
like my eyes haven't adjusted, and that fucking like that drape
yeah.
goes over, and it turns into that nun, and she's just like. And fucking then it's great. It went like, oh, it's scary.
Yeah, I like I said, I kind of went into it with the oh, here's another one because there's fucking 100 of them, and then as soon as it started, I was like, okay, well, the, see, the thing is, I had just watched like the Pope's
Oh
Exorcist,
yeah.
first cousin, or whatever. So like when I saw how well it was filmed, I was like, I've been tricked before.
Hmm.
But I got over it pretty quickly with, the beginning of the movie starting out the way it did. I was like,
Okay.
okay, yeah, I can give this a fair chance. Like, yes, it's shot kind of with that, uh, you know, flawless looking camera, but I'm also glad they didn't try to do like an old timey camera. Like
Right.
they didn't push that
Kind of like the
visual
Devil's
on.
Rejects look.
Yeah, yeah, that graininess, like it's the 70s, but it's really
Right.
2020. But yeah,
And they do a good job of representing that this is like 71,
mhm. Yeah, the
like
cars were good.
the
The majority of the
cars.
outfits were good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And I
just
mean, you're
yeah,
in
it felt
in an area being in Italy like
right.
that. And it's just like,
Well,
yeah,
if
I
you go to
mean,
Italy now, it's still 1994
yeah,
in most places.
it probably
So
looks the exact same.
wait
We
till they
just
figure out
showed
what
up with a
happens to Kurt
camera.
Cobain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But and then I'll say like okay the one thing that kind of got me like okay, why is it a B not an A for me is the nun who hangs herself, sets herself on fire. It's all for
Mhm.
you. It's
Yeah.
a little too close to the first Omen.
Right. Right.
Okay, that's the
I
big
think that they've done
one.
that in every Omen though. They've like I you can't even
Yeah,
call it an homage. It's just ripping off the other one. They've done that in every
they
single
just
one or a
yeah,
version of it.
yeah
This
they
one
got
they
to
lit her on fire to make her it more extreme.
yeah.
Yeah, that's metal as fuck, but
Yeah, they
like
just like, oh, we gotta okay, well, she just
gotta
hung
one
herself
up
in the
it.
first
Yeah.
one, so we'll just set her
Yeah,
on
she's gonna be
fire.
dildoing herself while she does it to make
Right.
it like a number 3 or whatever. So, like, yeah,
And the the what do you call it? Would was that actress like Mia Goth light?
dollar store Mia Goth.
Yeah, Dollar Store Mia Goth. Didn't that look like we tried to get Mia Goth, but we couldn't just for this little part because
I
it kept
would
on
venture to say that if they called her, she would have done it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sure, I'm a star. Um,
I will not accept a life I do not deserve.
but
That sounds just like Varsity Blues, where he's like, "I don't want your life."
yeah, that part kind of like not too bad though. I can forgive that. The one thing
Yeah.
though that always gets me in these movies is always like we get this girl from fucking America or Boston or some place, and
Mm,
she comes into this world
mm.
and she's just like, I can't believe there's a Mean Girls room or something. It's like, face it, sister, welcome to the job. Fucking
Yeah.
like that just that's so cliche now.
One
Where
of the things that really got, go ahead, sorry.
no, I was just saying that, that just that plot
Like
to
the
move the
wing of disturbed children or whatever.
well, I'm not even like just here's this person from that's starting a new job,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And then they get into the job
Oh, and they're like
and then all
flaky.
of a sudden there's just something that they think is wrong or they don't like
Yeah.
and it's just
Oh,
like
that's American as fuck. To go
yeah.
to another country and be like, fuck how you
Yeah.
do things.
That's how you
Let's
do
do it
it
like
here?
America.
Yeah.
Um,
They're like, lady, this is the Catholic Church. We have a lot more worse things than bad girl rooms in this
yeah.
fucking world. Okay. You need to calm the fuck
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll leave that. I'll leave the joke alone. But yeah, the one of the things that did throw me was in the beginning of the movie where she's like the old nun is walking the new nun around like she's like she says like certain little things like in Italian. She's like she'll say like the original name to it in like this perfect Italian.
Right.
And she's like, anyways, let me show you down the road here. Like the most American accent. I'm like,
Right.
should she have an Italian like they didn't try to give her an Italian accent
No,
whatsoever.
no, Jacob. She's just that's how you pronounce it in Italian, and then
Then
she's
you
from
use your
Cleveland.
fucking Jersey accent the
Right.
rest of the
Yeah.
time.
You know, she came there, back in like the 40s, but um horror though. Like spot on. Like
It's
that
good, but the
pregnancy.
thing that bothers me is like a lot of these horror. Again, so I mean, did you see The Pope's Exorcist?
No,
Okay,
no.
with Russell
Those
Crowe or whatever. Uh,
those
if you would
fucking
watch
scare.
that, you would kind of you'd feel the same way. It's
Okay.
very it's this new style of trying to do demon scary horror.
Hmm.
It feels very this feels like a better version. Like they looked at the Conjurings and said, okay, this is what doesn't work. Let's do this instead.
Right.
Still not it it just has a flavor to it
Hmm.
that just doesn't feel horror. Like demons and ghosts and stuff, that's pretty much the only horror that can still scare me because of the jump scare.
Right.
But it just feels, I hesitate to use the word contrived, but it does feel a little like stylized and contrived as far as new age horror goes.
Okay.
Like The Dark and the Wicked did it really, really well. And The Conjuring didn't.
Okay.
Or the later Conjurings didn't. And the Pope's Exorcism did jump scares pretty well because we're dealing in the same direction. This feels like a better version of that, but it still has that, the 90s stink that you can't get off of movies and the
Right.
2000s ick. It feels like that somewhat, but like a
Right.
really good version of it, to one where like there's not a lot of aftertaste.
Right. That's expectable. I think though with like the style, especially where jump scares in a movie and ghosts and demon possession or demons in general, you can do it very sloppily and like there it is,
Yeah,
I'll always go back to The Nun
yeah,
in that movie, just those where it's just like we're trying to make a recognizable villain. Whereas
Uh,
this movie, I feel like gives you time. Like the movie, if you take the horror elements out, is just like a detective story of trying to figure out what this problem is with the Catholic Church.
right.
But then, oh, there's demons. There's demons.
Right.
They're real,
Right.
and it gets, really uncomfortable insert
Right.
like the fucking after that car accident in the movie.
Uh,
When she has that car accident and she's just sitting there like convulsing and whatnot, I'm just sitting there like, this is great. We're just spending time together. Fucking, I'm just watching her writhe around and then like just goo come out of her vagina and shit. And like,
we're
I'm
just
just
getting to
like,
know each other. It's what
yeah,
that's
just getting to know her.
that's first
And
date stuff, you know.
right. And that actress, like, she's really good at like emoting like fear and pain
Through her
and
vagina.
act, well, no, through the face,
Oh, okay.
but she can, she's just emoting that. And like, I was just like, yeah, I really feel her fears, her worries, uh, to like the degree,
Maybe I need to watch it again.
I think so. I mean, like, did you watch it in like 15 minutes before you came on the air
No,
or
no, 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 no. I fell asleep last night watching it, and
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
the usual, the usual stuff.
Right, right, right. Yeah, give it time, let it brew. Because there are slow moments in this where like
But I love a slow burn, so
right,
that's never going to be an issue for me.
right.
Like,
Yeah, but it's really nice when they know how to slow burn, get to know a character, like really like
yeah,
take your time on a character
right,
and we just watch their world go from like the highest high to craziness
right,
instantly like what
yeah.
and it's really nice it's almost like did you ever see that Exorcist movie that came out like maybe a year ago? It was
Oh,
supposed to be a conclusion of like it's supposed to be an exact pre sequel to
you
the
talking about the one
original.
with the little girls?
Yeah, the two little
No,
girls.
I started it and I was like, that's the exact flavor that I'm talking about. Is like
Right.
that new age, like demon style horror where you're just like, I don't like this and I can't figure out why
Right.
because all of the work is there. This one didn't have it to the extent that those two did, but that's a great example. Like maybe people that will help people understand what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
I
no, I watched
completely
some of
where
them.
it feels forced in
Yeah,
The Exorcist, that
yeah,
that new Exorcist.
yeah.
Whereas this, it like we know the end result. Like
Right,
no one
right,
should be going into this movie like, I wonder what's gonna happen.
right,
It's
right.
like we know it's called the First Omen, and there's already Omen one out,
Yeah,
So we know where the end of this movie is going,
right,
the birth of Damien.
right.
But yeah, the only
It would have been a twist if they were like, I'm gonna call him Kevin.
yeah,
It's
his
like,
name
wait,
is
what? Then
Kevin.
who
It's
is
not.
Damien?
Yeah, that's not really satanic enough. I think Damien would be a way cooler
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
That's another thing about these movies that I like is that they always treat like Satanist
Mhm.
as like this really like secret society, dark underbelly tones, this really like
Nah, we're out there. We're just hanging out. We're
yeah, like I would have loved if they were just all like listening to fucking Black Sabbath and like they all had like corpse paint on and
yeah,
while they're giving her a C-section
yeah.
and stuff, they have like a bull skull and it's like Dr. Satan now and shit and like like that may have just drove it to the like or like all of them are in dark robes and they're
Yeah.
watching the and there's just
I
one
think that that's
like
part of the
metalhead guy.
reason that I I was more lenient with this one because they didn't do the stupid tropes that they
Right,
do to Satanists in these movies.
right,
Like yeah, technically they're still a bad guy, and I could bitch and gripe about that, but I've done that so much on this podcast. I don't want people to think like Satanists are like vegans or something. We just
right.
bitch about how, but
You turn Satanists away by your like Satanism and shit, fucking. But yeah, and I like that where it's more serious. It kind of like the Satanist in fuck, what was that Johnny Depp movie? The Ninth Gate,
oh, okay,
you know, where they're not all just like stupid metalheads.
yeah,
Fucking, they're just like
they're not
these.
Brian Posehn running
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
Yeah,
they are literally just these sophisticated
they did a
like
good
things.
representation in Starry Eyes too.
Yeah,
The very serious version of them. They made them like Hollywood elites though.
yeah, well, makes sense and stuff.
Yeah, 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 because we run,
Hollywood and
yeah, we run Hollywood.
total
That's why we keep
Bohemian
making movies
Grovers.
about how we're the bad guys
Yeah,
because we're running Hollywood, not the Christians.
that would be hilarious if like can't the Satanists just be like the good guys for once? Wait a minute, we
I
were
want to
saved
make that movie,
by
but it would never get
Satanists.
to market. They would shut that shit down so fast.
Just come riding in, blasting like venom and shit, and fucking like
70s black metal where it's
yeah,
just kind of
like
hard rock still.
yeah, an exorcist movie where instead of like Catholic priest, fucking Satanists come like, yeah, we could do this for like 50, $72.
And a
Yeah,
case of Bush Light. Um, yeah, no, yeah, you would just make it the honest opposite. Just be like, yeah, we'll get God out of you, no worries. Come
yeah.
with us. Here's a
No, no, no.
40.
See, they keep calling like the opposite, like fucking they keep like in his exorcism, they
Yeah.
keep calling like priest. Maybe you should call Satan's friends and shit, like to come take care of him and whatnot. Can you, hey, my daughter has a demon in her. That's totally awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll
yeah.
come and party with your daughter and shit. Fucking
To get the demon out by
right.
partying with her.
It's just it's then a scene of them just like leaving fucking PBRs all over her bed and fucking blowing bong hits in her face and shit. Fucking the sign of the devil.
That might be the plot to like Evil Bong 7.
Yeah. No, don't invoke the evil bongs or they will end up fucking making that movie.
Yeah, they will.
Um, but cinematography was beautiful once
Yeah, it was great.
again
It
this
was
week,
shot
you
very
know.
well. There was like it goes back to the remake of Suspiria. There was like a paleness to
Hmm.
everything that I enjoyed. Everything. Well, I think, but that led it to feeling more 70s.
Like a
Like the colors that people were wearing, like
desaturation of the colors.
yeah, that and like the well, just the color choices too, like the dark burgundies and the khakis and the browns, like that was very 70s-esque.
Hmm.
And then you put that pale style filming on like color palette on the movie on top of those color choices,
All
it
right.
just made it feel very 70s. Like
Yeah.
the car was dark brown, which is not, it's kind of coming back now, but it wasn't around for fucking ever.
Right.
Like, so it felt, everything felt right. The way it was shot, the cinematography was great.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, there's just those moments where you stop and like because we're given opportunity to soak on a scene, you can just absorb details of like
right.
the room that her and her roommate were like living in and just like get that feeling of like where are we, what is our longitude and latitude now, kind of like feel.
Yeah.
And then when we were in the orphanage like I guess also had like a doctor's office near it or something.
There's a
Like,
lot of wood in it. Wood is typically an old, like when
right.
there's like wood door frames, like wood colored door frames,
Hmm.
wooden doors, wooden floors.
Yeah.
Most things are updated and renovated, so when they're left natural like that, it has an older feel to it.
Yeah. And then the architecture and the paintings of those Renaissance saints,
Mhm.
those are always like I always like when they use those, whether they're replicas or
Right.
actual like
I don't
the
think that
actual.
they were able to get the actual paintings, but
No, but I mean, whoever, if those are replicas, they did an amazing job on a
yeah,
lot of,
yeah,
like just like the altar where her friend is going to get,
yeah,
nullified or whatever. She's marrying God.
right.
Um, and like you have all the nuns sitting there and like, and then the orphan girls and just like the setup scene of it
Hmm.
was like, oh, this is like you think you're at like a wedding, kind of, and then the more you look, like the darker it's kind of
Yeah,
getting in that room,
right.
and you know, so, but
When you said getting married to God, it made me think of making a T-shirt that says "Getting finger blasted by Jesus."
yeah, I mean, that's what's happening. She's getting married to God. That's literally the term they use. So that's why they gave her a ring and shit, because
Yeah,
she's cutting her hair, getting married to God. Because, like, yeah, they're like when they get to go out and party and shit before they are full blown nuns. That's like
yeah,
their Rumspringa. Like,
right,
go
right,
ahead
right.
and sin because guess what? That shit's going to fuck away here real
Yeah,
soon.
yeah,
So, you know, and that actress was pretty good too. The friend,
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
enjoyed her.
yeah.
So I mean, but kind of everybody in this movie was doing. There was
Yeah, I
nobody
don't
that I
think that
was
there
just
was
like,
anybody that lacked skill. I think that
yeah.
they all executed their job well.
Yeah, the one father from the beginning during confession, who's like just built for horror. He has that perfect voice of just
Yeah.
like, is what's
Yeah, dude, I
lower
was
than
thinking that that was fucking
bass?
homeboy from what's his face? Um what is it? No Country for Old Men.
No,
I was like, was that Javier Bardem in there?
no.
Like,
But what's lower than bass? Because that man has it.
yeah,
I can't even justify it, and my
yeah,
voice is
yeah,
still too high. The
yeah,
guy from The Witch, basically, it's him.
yeah, yeah,
But he did a great job. Even the small role of the guy who played Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones,
yeah.
small little part, but it really was nice. And I was also glad, like, when that thing hit his head,
Mhm.
okay, and like they didn't go sloppy blood, like
Right, right. Very
squirting or
clean
something.
move. Yeah.
And then like he just smiles and like he's bleeding from the mouth a little bit. And it's like,
Yeah.
there, nice. Just
Yeah, subtle
very,
touches. Yeah.
yeah, just very nice amount of blood. Not
Well, I
like
think that
gore.
that's another thing like that they did right with this. It was like foreplay before sex. Like they took their time, they led you in like here's some things that could be super bloody and gory and gross, but we're not going to make them that way. We're going to but it also gave it a PG-13 versus an R.
All right.
So there could have been multiple reasons, but I feel like outside of the rating scale, it was more or less like we're going to show you that this will be fucked up later, but we're going to save it till later.
All right.
Then it's going to get weird. And then they lit that bitch on fire and she hung herself. Like
The demon hand
they
coming out of
yeah,
the vagina would
right.
definitely, but that could
They
be
like,
cut from the movie easily. So if you're trying to get a PG out of
yeah,
this,
yeah.
fucking on the Disney
Which
Channel,
is still
which
fucking
it
hilarious
is on the
because
Disney Channel.
our PG movies had tits and fucks in them and all kinds of shit.
Hmm. Yep. Fucking watch Dick Tracy.
Yep. Donna's old tip.
Fucking there's, yeah, I guarantee someone was sitting there going HD.
Yeah.
How are we ever gonna compete now? Fucking, there is so much fucking shit in that movie that we hid in
Yeah.
like shadow that's
Yeah.
now like unadulterated, filtered, you know.
They have to go back and change the ratings and apologize and shit.
Right, right. Now, Dick Tracy's rated R. What the fuck? So,
When did they do that?
right. But
All right.
Jacob, on that note, would you go see it in the theater?
Um,
Paying that
yeah,
that dollar for it?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
would too.
yeah.
I think it's uh, definitely a
Yeah.
watch. Would you buy a physical copy of it?
Nah, I'm good.
I would definitely like.
I'm just tired of people blaming Satanists for everything. Continue.
I would definitely own a physical copy of this. Like this new horror, like when you find these like little like trope, I mean these little gems out there,
Uh-huh.
you know, because my brain sees the First Omen, and I was so afraid. Yeah, it's gonna end up being
Yeah,
like
for sure. Because we had had a run of, well, the Conjuring universe altogether, and then the Insidious ones kept coming, and then
right,
they tried to remake The Grudge, and then
right,
the Exorcist remake, and then you just see this and you're like, no. That's why, like, when you said it, like, do you want to do this one? I was like, really? Like,
yeah,
I was like shocked by it. I thought like it was going to be payback for something. I didn't
yeah.
realize it was going to be decent.
But in the realm of Suspiria, and I would even put Hellraiser, where
Yeah,
it's
okay.
like, oh, it's its own thing. Like
Yeah,
if you never saw The Omen, you watch this and you can lead along into the next Omen.
right.
Or if you never watch The Omens and just watch this, it's fine by itself, you know?
Yeah.
So, copy cult classic.
Nah.
I don't know. I
It
don't
would
think
have to be a
so.
100 years before this was a cult classic. It's just too new agey.
All
It feels
right.
too new agey. Like TV Glow, that could be a cult classic because it went under
Right.
the radar, and mainstream isn't going to pick it up
Right.
as much as they should. But this got publicity, this got advertisements, people had an opportunity to love it. Now, it may have a cult following in a couple of years and I have to eat my words, but as far as right now, no.
I think it's gonna have a cinema following. Like some like not horror
Why
cult,
every time we do this, you got some new term to
but
explain some
but
bullshit
but
that,
people that like movies, like really good movies,
like,
are gonna go,
Criterion type
oh yeah,
following? Okay,
Criterion,
all right, all right.
maybe like just cinema
Right, right. The
snobs
art
will
of
go,
film.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, you
okay.
gotta watch
All right.
this if you want to know like
Yeah. That
reverse
doesn't make
lensing
it a
or
cult
something,
classic
you
though.
know, but not
But yeah.
cult
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
classic.
that makes sense. I believe that. I would agree with that.
Right. You recommend it?
Yeah, I mean, give it a I mean, I would at the end of the day, I should recommend everything because everybody's taste is different. But yeah, I recommend this.
Yeah, fucking throwing out that evil bong fucking recommendations
Hey
and
man,
shit.
guess what? I watched the whole fucking universe because you said you were going to, and then you didn't watch but maybe one.
The devil's a
Two.
liar.
Yeah, yeah, no shit.